Just one more second, we'll get going. I gotta go grab something to drink. We've established I'm not a good streamer. Oh, why is Unity focusing on that tab? Get out of here. There we go. Oh, I gotta open up my freaking... I liked that extra tab. Let's open that back up and redock it. There we go. Unity uses new... Wait. I thought you were making a joke at first. What's Unity? Blah, blah. See, not a good streamer. I can't even talk. Honestly, that I'm kind of stoked about that, actually. An in-editor AI that makes the whole idea of doing like vibe day streams easier, because was the only pain in the ass, was the fact that I'd have like AI tools for like the code, but not... Oh, it even does 2D art? That's cool. Cause like, I mean, yeah, you guys know me. I'm definitely not against AI. I definitely think I definitely think that AI is more of a tool though, and not like a replacement. So I fully believe that if you were to make something completely using nothing but AI, it's going to be garbage. But using AI as a tool, I mean, AI is honestly just fancy autocorrect anyway, at least in the most. I don't really use it for art, but it is nice. So that's nice that there's built-in tools. And then like, yeah, I mean, I guess for these vibe day streams and stuff like that I want to do too, the fact that there's AI art in there kind of is, I like, because none of this stuff I'm gonna be doing seriously anyway. I was like, I'm not any of these games I make. Oh yeah, I'm sure it'd be a mess, but I want to play with it. But like in the instance, if I do like these vibe streams, I wouldn't feel bad about using AI art, because that's kind of the point of the streams, to make like just... Because I think there's a difference between vibe coding and then like using AI and stuff. And the vibe coded stuff is not anything that I'm going to release, not at least to make money. Maybe I'll release it on itch.io for fun and stuff like that. And people will hate it. People hate it. People like it, who, you know, but it's one of those things where, you know, the point of it is, if you're going to get mad at me for using AI, you don't even understand the point of the streams. This is cool though. It's produced 2D art, but it won't. Bad press is still press unless you're Diddy. Well, and that's the thing too, is honestly, like, like I said, if anyone were to get mad at me for using AI, would completely misunderstand the point of what I'm doing anyway. It's all like the Vibe Day streams are going to be a complete joke. I mean, I guess there's something to say that like, well, you're still using it, so you're pushing for it, and oops, but like, deal with it. I get I do have feelings about AI art and everything like that, but AI in general, I feel like has gotten such a bad rep. Nah, man, you gotta go on YouTube and print out those videos. How far away are we from 3D AI art? Like, there's one called Meshy. The problem is none of this stuff is. There's a CAD that will do AI. I guess you guys can't see what I'm doing right now. So there's this Meshy thing. Start for free. We're gonna use temp mail for this. Because I feel like a lot of times these things are just like data mining and stuff. I kind of want to play with this and see what it's like, and then we'll get started. Let's copy that, paste that there. Gotta love when these. I gotta love that it doesn't even recognize that it's a fake email, because some of them is getting pretty good with it. Best part, don't even have to worry about that. I leaked that code because it's a fake email. Okay, so how do I... I want a voxel zombie. Let's do something simple. Okay, so it's gonna cost me 10 of these little tokens, and I've got 100 of them. I wonder if you get these more. How you get more of these? Interesting. So they have see, I wonder how that is gonna work. I didn't think you could oh, okay, I guess this is a little... I guess I don't know what the C3... I didn't think you could copyright AI work, though, but... 100 monthly credits recharge. How much do these... I don't even know how fast it does. 10 downloads per month. Okay, so you probably get 100 of those every month. Let's just generate the one, because I don't care. Sure, I'm a game designer. Gaming. So that's my company. Only me. How did I hear about Meshy? I googled you, and you. How did I hear about you? You paid money and you appeared unsponsored. I can tell you it already did a bad job. Because I said voxel. And like, they're good. Like this guy's actually pretty good. Honestly, the 3 of these are good. I don't know what's going on here with this thing. Do that guy. I like that. I really like, yeah, like 2 and 4 would go pretty good. I really like 4. I don't know why. I think 2 looks like a skeleton too much. For another 10 tokens, I can texture this. Let's finish generating that thing and let's see what it looks like. I mean, that's kind of cool though. What's their API? That is impressive though. Like, I mean, I did tell it I want a voxel zombie and it did not give me a voxel zombie. But oh, that is not as good. Why does it look so much better in here? And then here it looks like trash. Maybe, is there a way I can turn the lighting off? Oh, that's the wireframe. Okay. What's this button do? Display settings. I don't know, like if you look at this guy, it's like everything looks like actually sharp. Then in here, it looks like it's been smoothed. Also, what I hate about sites like this is the fact that they charge so much. Well, it's so like, okay, so these ones give you, the paid ones do give you retries. I was gonna say, because like I wasted 10 of my like tokens or credits or whatever that they're called here. Credits. Like it didn't even give me what I wanted because I asked for a voxel and it didn't give me voxel. Like how much that would it actually end up costing me of those credits to finally get it to be like, to do exactly what I want? Ooh, okay. So I discovered a bug. Remember the other day when my loot menu just like broke for some reason? I could not figure out why. I figured out why. What I need to, what's happening is, so like, you know how this guy, I can go loot him, but like he'll turn into a zombie, right? If I don't know, I gotta find another one to prove the point. The problem is when that respawn happens, it gets rid of that loot box that I'm looting, and the code is trying to close that loot box, and that object doesn't exist anymore. So I have to figure out a way to not have that happen. So now I need to find another camp so I can show you what I mean, because I probably shouldn't have done that. Okay, so there's a camp. There's got to be a guy around here somewhere. I make these guys like not wander. There he is. Okay, there's one. Let's get him to... No, zombies can be looted, right? But if I go kill this guy, loot him, but then he's gonna respawn, I can't get out of the... I can't get out anymore because the enemy loot drop has been destroyed. I'm still trying to access it. Yeah, zombies themselves have loot drops. It's the problem is when an NPC dies, it creates a new object that is the lootable. Like it's not attached to the guy. Yeah, basically what happens is when it reanimates, it basically picks up all of the loot and puts it into the zombie's inventory because it's a completely different object. What happens is NPC dies, it drops a loot, like an invisible lootable object that's like on top of the player or off of the dead body, so that way it looks like you're looting that thing. But then when it reanimates, the enemy NPC object gets deleted. The zombie takes everything from that loot drop, puts it into the zombie's inventory, then deletes that loot drop that's on the ground. So it's, well, what's happening is it's not even a dupe thing. It's the fact that like that loot, when you go to loot with the or interact that lootable object, when the NPC like revives, it deletes that lootable object, and then I can't get out of the menu because it's trying to reference that menu or that loot drop, I mean. It's not, yeah, it's not even necessarily that the NPC loots. I basically just take the stuff out of that loot that got thrown on the ground and I put it into the zombies inventory. Because you can see in here, level manager, I think it is. So yeah, when an enemy is killed, I'm instantiating a lootable prefab. I set up the lootable event, which basically, oh yeah, I see what you mean. If I go, let's go find one. Yeah, that 100% should be like, there should not be a dupe, or it shouldn't dupe. Yeah, I got you. Here, let's get him away from that zombie. So if I go here, kill you, grab that, grab the gun, get out. Now he's come back. I kill him. If I go in here, the gun's gone, and I'm pretty sure this is all the same stuff that was... I should have paid closer attention. I should have paid attention. Here, we can do that again, and I'll pause the game, and then we can actually examine what's going on in there. Because it might, honestly, it might be I can just pause the run, and then we can actually like look in there. It might be adding more loot to the zombie now that I think about it, though, because the zombie being a new NPC. Because that definitely was way too much stuff. Yeah, so like, okay, so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 things in here. And now there's a lot more. So it's, yeah, basically it's, the zombie is resetting up a... Which I know why that's happening, because when it's reanimated... On enemy reanimated. On enemy reanimated. Okay, yeah. So on enemy killed, which is going to happen in start reanimation. I instantiate a zombie here, which is the zombie prefab. And if I go into the zombie, or I guess this is just a character or an enemy base thing, since it comes from enemy base. It... Yeah, okay, so I need to I need to put a flag on. I need to put some sort of flag on there that says if it's reanimated or not, so it doesn't do this. Because then what I can do then in the when I instantiate the zombie here, I can set that flag to. I can set that flag and then it won't do the art. I'm not going to worry about that right now. I'll just put it on the bug list. Like, yeah, I mean, I've gotten a sizable list of stuff here. So I guess it could be a bug fix day. So what I want to do is just work on bugs right now. Let's just work on bugs and let's start with the one that we just found. So what we need is on enemy base to be and then on the setup inventory. If it's a reanimated enemy, it'll just return out and not do this stuff. And then that means I don't know if this is going to happen fast enough though, because this could be like race. There could be a race condition here. Blockbuster would still exist. Actually, funny you bring that up. Oh, I might not have it in my desk. It might be elsewhere. I have my Blockbuster card laying around somewhere. I think it's in here though. That's kind of a bummer. Yeah, I've got it's around here somewhere. I definitely still have it because I've seen it recently. It's just not. Maybe it's in this drawer. No, it's not gonna be in that drawer. Yeah, I know where it's at. I just don't feel like getting it. I hate that with mono behaviors, there's no constructors. Everyone online is like, oh, if it's a mono behavior, just use awake or start. But that's not a constructor. Yeah, so many people are in here is like, just do it in a way that's not a constructor. The only way that I could like make this, like technically I could make an identical class to the zombie, but that's so dumb. Like this will most likely work, but it also could not work because I just have a race condition here. And I've already had my fair share of race conditions in this game. I don't need more. How many zombies? Where's a... Okay. Can't tell if that had... There's a quick, easier way to do this. I'm just going to turn this guy back on. Pondering on a way. So you could, instead of having 100... Okay, so instead of having like tons and tons and tons of timers, have all of those the grass just work off the same tick. Have a and then every time have all of those like those blocks or whatever just subscribe to an event that that your timer like every time your timer does an on timeout, it just blasts out like an on timeout, and then everything that cares about that specific timer subscribe to an event, and then that way they can all do their own tick off of one timer. Probably be how I would do it. Like definitely immediately just feels like a situation where you just want to use an event, because I feel like it wouldn't be an issue if all your grass is just all cycling on the same tick anyway. I mean, I guess what would happen is all of your grass would like grow at the exact same time. If that's not something you want. Or well, I mean, if you had multiple grass blocks that all were going to grow at the same stage, they would all pop in at the same time instead of having like little bits of offset. But that's the only way I could think of it offhand. And like I said, that's probably how I would do it. I would just use a timer or a single timer and just fire off an event. You can do that too, I guess. Because, okay, so I guess you're doing like a dungeon crawl kind of thing where you're moving from room to room to room to room. In which case, I guess if you're moving, if everything is all like separate encapsulated rooms, you could still you could still do the same thing. Yeah, like me personally, I probably would just start with having the single timer. Have like a single timer for that room that then, or I guess in that, like how much grass are you talking in a single room? Because when you leave the room, if you're unloading the room, I don't see a problem with having all the time, or like having a timer running. Because like if you have one room that has like only like a handful of patches of grass and stuff, I feel like you could just have a whole bunch of timer, or like a timer for all of them. It wouldn't be too bad. But if you're talking like hundreds of pieces of grass, it's probably the best route probably would be to do the single timer with a firing off an event.
Anna Walker 411 just followed.
Hey, thanks for the follow, Anna. What were we doing? Oh yeah, I was testing the timer. That I should probably slow down a bit to make this easier to test. Why is the dude didn't? Oh, there we go. Actually, while we're in here too, let's just grab that and drop it in here. Just, how's it going? Yeah, definitely still adding the race condition, like is still existent, like I said. Yeah, I feel like generally that the tick route might be the easiest route to go, to be honest, with just the single timer. So it's like one on the third row. And then still adding a couple. You can find a game that does kind of what you're looking for and see if you can figure out how they're doing it. Yeah, I'm trying to think. I can't really think of anything offhand that would do something similar. But I guess I also don't really know it'd probably helpful if I knew more about what you're trying to do, because all I got right now is digging blocks in a dungeon crawler essential game. My day's going good, Anna. What about you? Okay, so yeah, what I was afraid of was that route wasn't going to work. Thanks. I appreciate that. Do I just make a specific zombie that's just a reanimated zombie? Actually, no, that won't do it, because it still is inheriting from. Or no, I can, because I can just set the. I don't think I've played I've played most of the. Let me check before I commit to. Because I've played most of the Legend of Zelda games. I love Legend of Zelda. But I also never had a Super Nintendo. But I might have emulated it. I don't. It's hard to tell. I don't think. Oh no, are you talking Link to the Past? I was looking it up and I was like, I don't recognize this because I have played Link to the Past. I just didn't play it. I didn't play OG Link to the Past. I saw it on or I played it. I played the new one on Switch. Oh wow! Look what happens when I actually use my social media for once. Weird how people find me when I actually like update that thing because I'm so bad at using it. All right, so like I said, this whole thing isn't gonna work. Or did I not even save it? I wonder if I didn't even save it. No, it's in the same file. Animated. All right. Get rid of that. All right, Z-Wraith, I fixed your problem. Fix mine. Oh, no, I can't do that because my chair runs into it. Oh, actually, speaking of SNES games, I did place the order. Oh, the problem. So the problem is though, is I would still have to set it because that's the thing. It's I would have to when I instantiate the zombie, I would still have to set the variable to say that that it's a reanimated zombie and to not do the loop drop. What was I saying? Oh yeah, speaking of SNES games, I placed the order today for a lot of the most of the stuff that I need to make the handheld emulator I'm working on. So I got a handful. I got like a handful of different LCD screens because I couldn't figure out which ones. It's hard to judge the size. So I got like a couple different sizes and ones that work like a little bit differently. That and I just feel like having it. They weren't expensive, so I feel like just having a handful on hand wouldn't be a bad idea, especially if I like screw something up and break one. So I got like an LCD screen. I got a Pi Zero. Because I decided to go with the Pi Zero because I'm not really gonna be emulating anything beyond like I'm not trying to emulate like PS1 and N64 and anything like that. Like because it's a small handheld. So like I'm really only be doing Game Boy and NES and Super Nintendo. So I just got a Pi Zero. Just one of those just kits of just like electronics crap. So I got like the wire, like a whole bunch of random wires, resistors, transistors, like there's a bunch of, I mean, not that I need capacitors, a bunch of capacitors in there, whole bunch of wires, a breadboard. So like I'll be able to, prototype it at first. I gotta buy, so at a certain point I'll have to buy like one of the project boards that you actually like solder the cables to and everything. And I'll have to get a new 3D printer at some point. I used to have a resin printer before I moved and it was broken, so I sold it for parts. But I kind of miss my printer, so I'm gonna buy a FDM printer. And also, since I kind of want to do this combat robotics thing too, I need a printer anyway because I need some. So there's more of a reason. Like I have definitely more of a reason to own this printer than I did my resin printer way back in the day, because my resin printer sole purpose was to print miniatures, and I just don't like resin printing. It was cool. Like it honestly was not worth the effort to me. if I want to buy some Warhammer minis, I'll just buy some Warhammer minis instead of going through the hassle that's resin printing. But yeah, I went with the Pi Zero, or because I know I could have gotten the Pi compute boards are like kind of like the best option right now. Like the CM5 or something like that, probably the best option to do like super powerful, you know, emulation. But I wasn't trying to do that, and they're also the size of like, you know, a Pi. Like this is an old Pi 2. But when I'm making a handheld, like the Pi Zero just seemed like the smartest route because they're like half the size of this thing. What I realized is, hold on, let me thinking now. What are the USB ports on this thing? now that ball one, I don't even remember what's all on it. I probably have to like SSH into this thing. Or I got to figure out how to, because I won't be able to mouse and keyboard into this thing actually. I didn't even think about that. Yeah, I could SSH. But how do you, I would need to get the IP address off of it though. And how am I going to do that when I don't have when I have a keyboard to get into the, like to actually type into the terminal? It's connected to a printer. You can set that up from the SD card install. Wait, are we talking about the 3D printer or the Raspberry Pi now? I'm confused. The Pi. Yeah, your Wi-Fi goes into the... Oh. You're right. Dude, I literally was just trying to set up my Linux computer today for me to remote into that. And I wanted like a full GUI remote access, not just the terminal. And apparently you have to pay for real VNC now, which I was like, okay, well, I guess I need something to use different. So I was like, oh, I'll just like RDP in. So I got like, you know, I got in the RDP, set up X RDP or whatever it is on my other computer, you know, put in the IP. It's not even on right now. Put in the IP and it literally didn't even, like, and the screen pops up with the login and I can't figure out how to log in because like the credentials for the accounts on the Linux box, like don't work in this XRDP login thing that popped in. I could not figure it out. All right, so let's quit getting distracted. I think we lost Anna. She, I'm assuming she. If I'm wrong, my apologies. She said, appreciate your follow back on X. I honestly ignore the, like, yeah, it was exactly what I thought it was. Honestly, I need to be more firm. Instead of acknowledge it, I need to be more firm on the rules of the chat, because I honestly consider that as like self-promotion, whether, you know, whether you're actually promoting a service or not. Okay, so these have 2 micro USB. So I also straight, like, worst case, if like if I didn't want to, I could also like use micro USB like adapter to connect a mouse and keyboard to the thing. But that's unreachable code detected. Oh, right, that's it. But yeah, it's as much as it is. That was 100% a promo thing. I went to the Twitter page and it was an artist. All right, so back to I guess I just make a separate, like a completely different zombie. Make a default like a protected bull that like a default protected bull that would say that if it's a reanimated thing, I'd make an entire variable just for this one edge case, which is I don't want to do that. How do I fix this? What's a good way to do this? Because the problem is, too, now that I'm thinking about it, I bet you the player zombie, too, also probably... Like when the player dies and it creates a zombie out of that, I bet you it totally does the... They instantiate a zombie, do its position. I get the safe path. Yeah, I bet you the zombie, the player zombie is also probably bugged then, and it's getting extra stuff. Let's do that. Let's go to the player. Allow the player to die again. And let's go in with nothing and see what happens. Shoot. That should be fine. Player zombie. It's got nothing in that. Oh, shoot. Okay. Did I lose? Does dying in here? I don't really have a use case for dying in here because I'm normally not supposed to die in here. Did I lose my stuff?
Oh, I definitely lost my stuff. And that guy definitely didn't go away like he was supposed to. I need something super random that the zombie's not going to have. So let's grab that. Wow, you like don't... Oh, because you're 4 wide. Are all my guns 4 wide? Weird. Okay, so let's do that. I'm gonna put you in here so that way I have the not annoying gun to test this later. Go hunt down someone to kill me. So kind of just down into the right. That's fine. Oh, wait. Is that the... Oh, God. I'm sorry. All right. Well, now let's go grab my gun. Go grab some not terrible armor. Oh, well, I don't have any good armor in there. I have some armor. There we go. Put that on. There's a character zombie around here somewhere. There he is. I gotta fight this dude for it. Darn it! Oh, I'm bad at my own game. That's fine. We can go to the forest generator. Let's just not do POIs as well. That, we'll grab a couple pistols, shotgun, pistol, the N16, I guess. Go over here. You in the chest, so I have you later. Character zombie is somewhere over here. I said not to spawn POIs. I said not to spawn POIs. Hi, Hendrix. I didn't save. Hi, Hendrix. Come here, Hendrix. Hi, buddy. Do we see him? No, we don't see him. All right, let's do that again. Oh, wait, I don't have to do that because there should be one in here. Haha. All right. Let's go take some random loot. Take you and you and you and you. All right, kill me. You killed me like immediately. Jesus. All right, so now that. Equip it. Let's go back in and look for that zombie. See, it's got all sorts of extra junk in here. So yeah, it's even doing. Oh, right. Yep, that's How do I do this in a way that makes sense? It's also really hot in here. Fix my code. All right. Huh. I don't want to work on this bug anymore. We're not going to work on this bug anymore. We'll come back to that one because that one's going to take some thinking. Let's figure out this other thing. So if I'm... Is there a like on destroy like method? Like is there something that runs like because it honestly that could fix the inventory like the other bug where maybe what's the let's see so a mono behavior has awake, fixed update, light update, on animator, move, on become visible, on become invisible. Ginger ale tastes weird without rum in it. Ginger ale is just a lame Moscow Mule. On destroy is a method. Okay. So what I can do here then is in a lootable, on destroy, I just do that, and then on destroy we'll do right, Moscow Mule's vodka, not rum. I was thinking of Dark and Stormy. Isn't technically a Dark and Stormy though a specific, like it's that brand? Technically. Maybe not. But oh, Goslings, that's what it was. I thought technically a Dark and Stormy was with the Goslings rum and the Goslings ginger beer. Okay, so we can have... Oh, that's supposed to be on destroyed, please. There we go. So then in the UI manager... I feel like people are either super pretentious with alcohol or they do not care in the slightest. I feel like there's no in between. So my wife gets mad at me whenever we go and do wine tastings and I do all the like the pretentious, like all of the techniques and stuff that you're supposed to do for tasting wine. It's fun. I'm going to a wine tasting this weekend, actually. There's a little wine tasting fair in a city near us, which is always fun. Man, I hated wine before I moved to California. Then suddenly I live somewhat like, you know, within an hour of like Napa. And I try good wine, and suddenly I like wine. So UI manager. I think it was like, yeah, I don't know what it was. I think it's like you find the one that you just like. Like, cause I think for me, what did it was, because I also like, cause I could tolerate like white wines. They weren't like my favorite thing, but like I could tolerate white wines. And like Moscato, like I could do Moscato no problem because Moscato is not even wine. That's just juice. So much sugar in it. But like I never liked red wine ever. Like, right? Like I hated red wine. I hated the tanniny, like the tannins were the stuff that got me and that weird aftertaste. And then for whatever reason, I tried this like Zinfandel from out here. It was like Zinfandels and Syrahs are like my like thing now. So it's like, yeah, my go-tos are like Zinfandels, Syrahs, or like now, like before I used to like, I would never even dream of it, but now it's like, I like a good cab. And it's like, I don't even really drink any white wines all that much anymore. Like, I honestly prefer red wines over white wines. And before it used to be the white wines were tolerable. Okay, so on enemy killed. Set up new lootable events in the UI manager. I think set up new lootable event is only... I might change this from set up new lootable event to... Void. Set up. And then I'm going to take in a lootable here. Because then what I can do here is I can do lootable.on menu created plus equals on menu created. And then I can also do lootable.on destroyed on menu closed. And this should close out the menu now before it gets destroyed. That might be a way to do that. So then now in the level manager, when an enemy is killed, instead of new lootable event, I'm going to do set up new temporary lootable events. And I'll keep the other one in there just in case I need it in the future. Let's go in here. Let's reactivate this. Reactivate this guy. We actually have a bottle of wine that I'm kind of looking forward to cracking open that we bought it back in like February and we haven't like used it yet. But we went to Charles Krug. I think it's Charles Krug. The Charles Krug winery in St. Helena. And apparently it is Charles Krug is the first tasting like room in California. So it was like the first one that was in Napa. It was established, I'm Googling it right now. It was established in 1861. In 1861, Charles Krug, the visionary father of Napa Valley winemaking, established the winery that started it all. And then the Mondavi family purchased it in 1943 and continued to run it. So like we have this bottle of cab from the first winery in California and the winery that also set like motion like the whole like Mondavi family and their like rise to fame in wine and stuff. And my parents are coming out to visit in a couple weeks. And my mom's Mother's Day gift is always taking her out to Napa and doing a wine tasting. And I'm thinking about taking her to that place again, just because we've been there, so we know it's good. And then also just like got the historical aspect of it, which my mom would kind of probably enjoy. I've never used a spit bucket. I throw that stuff back and go. No, so I did learn there is a proper way, like there was a way to taste wine that did make sense to me, that the guy, because even the guy that was doing the wine tasting for us was like joking about like some of the pretentious like tasting methods and stuff like that. But basically what they said to do was, it was like a 3-step process to where your glass of wine that you're tasting, so it's not like a full glass, it's the little bit for tasting and stuff like that, is you do 3 sips. The first sip, you let it sit in your mouth and kind of swirl it around a bit and everything for like a couple seconds, and then go ahead and either swallow or spit, whatever you want to do and stuff. But the key was to not make a judgment on how you liked if you liked the wine or not, because basically the process is because wine's an alcohol, or is alcohol. Alcohol's technically a poison. We're not innately supposed to drink it. So like your body has like an initial reaction to the wine at first, to where you want to like introduce it to your palate and everything like that. And then, then the second time you drink it, afterwards, it's already been introduced to the system. So then you take another sip, and this is like the second of 3 sips of wine. And that one you like swirl around in your mouth and stuff like that. Because then at that point, your body's used to it. It knows what it is and goes, okay, you did intentionally do this because you're sending in another thing, which then activates something like in your, neurons or, mouth and stuff like that, to where it starts getting, it goes, okay, I do like this. And it starts getting like the salivation to start going and everything. Then you hit it with the 3rd sip, and the 3rd sip is the one that you're supposed to make the decision on if you like it or not, because at that point your body's been like, your mouth has been introduced to it, adjusted to it, and can like properly taste the wine. And when he walked us through this and actually did it, and I was thinking about it, there actually was a noticeable difference in the taste of wine to me from the 1st sip to the 3rd sip. And it was like, yeah, there was one wine that I had where that 1st sip, I didn't really particularly care for that wine at first. But going through that whole process, by the end of it, I actually found myself like liking the wine. So it like completely changed how wine tastings go for me now, where I go through like this whole process. And then I now base like my purchases after, like if I go to a tasting, if there's any of the wines that I want to purchase, I base it off of that system now, because I have a better idea of what wines that I like. Because I've done tastings where I'm like, I kind of liked that wine, bought the bottle, and then later like didn't like it. But now since I've learned about the system, every time I've done a tasting and I bought a bottle of wine afterwards, when I went and drank it later, I really enjoyed the wine. But like, yeah, it made sense that like, yeah, your 1st sip of like any alcohol is like a little rough at first, because you are technically drinking a poison, and we're not, meant to be doing that. So your body initially wants to reject it. So your body makes it seem like your body perceives it as tasting worse than it actually does, which is crazy. Best $600 I ever spent was going on this wine train with my wife for her birthday. All right, so we turn the enemy back on. Let's see if this works now. I need a gun. I need the guy. I didn't save the scene. Okay, so one thing I have learned about this button that I made, when I have it turned on to start the main menu, I have to make sure the scene that I'm in was saved before I left, because it doesn't save. I could probably set that in the code, but I don't feel like doing it. But now that I'm thinking about it too, I need to make my player immortal. And honestly, instead of going here in code, I'm just going to do a Header. Debug tools. Public. Bool. God mode is false. And then in here on my death thing, I'm just going to add a bit of code. What's the, oh, I did this. It's on the force generator. That's right. If Unity editor. Okay. So what I can do here is do it or assign if Unity editor. What's the end? Just end if. Okay. There we go. Now I don't have to constantly go back and like change this and stuff. I can just literally go into my player now. And I can click God mode. So for starters, let's turn God mode on and see what happens. That didn't work. Why didn't that work? That was supposed to work. Oh, you know what? Because I probably didn't save. Okay, so that worked. And then now if I go in here, detach God mode. Cool. All right. I eventually want to make like a UI like thing for me to specifically to like toggle these things on and off, but that's why I like his gun, because this is too loud. There we go. So now if I go in here. Hey, it kicks me out when the, okay, cool. It kicks me out when the zombie comes out. My zombie animation's broken. Can I have a not loud, super loud gun? There we go. So I go in here, equip it, go, oh, look, digging around. And then it spawns out. Now, I could see... So... Normally, there's no guys in the hideout. I have this dude in here specifically to... like, this is just a regular old enemy that I have in here for testing when I don't feel like going out into a level. that NPC is specifically set up to, yeah, the NPC is specifically set up to fight in here. Now, the only thing that I wonder is going to happen is, say I have, ah, darn it. Save and quit just so I have it. If I'm in here. Come in here. If I grab, say, this gun. I have the same issue then. Because I have protections in the code on the UI manager. On menu closed. Oh, I think it's in the... If selected item does not equal null, I return false. Otherwise, I return true. So I still have an issue where if I have something in hand... Which that could be... I still got the same issue, which I've just pushed it. I've pushed it out. Granted, no, but this one's not dealing with a race condition either. I can just literally say... Hold on. Enemy base. Start reanimation, which is going to come from the UI manager. No, it's going to come from the level manager. On enemy killed, I create a loot drop. So I create the loot drop. Set up the temporary lootable event. So then I can, if it's random, I can start reanimation, add the loot drop. So we go back to lootable then. That's loot table, lootable. Private, bool. Temp loot drop. Public void. What do I want to call this? Set temporary. I gotta make this a property. It's supposed to be a bool. Okay, so then in the loot menu, so on close, I guess I'll do an and lootable dot is there we go. So if the selected item does not equal null and it's not a temporary loot drop, I'll return false. Otherwise, it'll return true. That will probably cause a bug somewhere. That didn't do it. Oh, probably because on the level manager, start reanimation on the enemy. So that means that the enemy drop the loot dot set temporary. Ugh. Man, I kind of lost. I mean, I guess I'm not super upset because we got a follower out of it, but like, I want real followers. I don't want people that come in follow trying to get me to follow back and then leave when I don't and then just never unfollow. I want actual followers. Like, where's Fev? Oh, but I see another bug. Ready for this? If I unequip my own gun, I lost my gun. Oh. I only thought of it from the one direction where, like, technically what will happen here too is if I means if I go in here, kill it, come in here, grab this gun, for example, kicks me out. Hi, Jackson. Oh, this is gonna be... See, the gun is gone. So that was not the fix. The only thing I could think of then is to have... I guess I need to flag it as... So there's two options here. Like, one of them, I could mark it to be destroyed. So then that way, like, when I exit the menu... When I exit the menu, it'll check if it's supposed to be destroyed or not. And then if it is supposed to be destroyed, I just destroy it then. I'd have to come up with some sort of, like, notice that the because I also don't want the player would have to know that it reanimated and is like fighting him and stuff like that. I mean, I guess that could be done with audio cues. Which, I mean, plenty of games you can, like, stuff can just jump on you while you're in the inventory and kill you. So I guess it's not the worst thing in the world. Maybe that's what I'll do then. Instead of all of this nonsense with the... So actually, so that means on the loot menu. If lootable dot is temporary. No, I'd have to flag it a different way. Well, yeah. Or, okay, hold on. No. So is, instead of is temporary, let's get rid of this whole thing. I got too many tabs open. I literally was just thinking that, to where there's a scenario in here where items get duplicated. Because if I'm in the inventory when the zombie when the zombie flips, I could loot everything that's in that thing and then go kill the zombie and would get double of everything. So there is a scenario here where I'm introducing a duplication glitch. It's the annoying part is the fact that they have to be, that I'm literally, yeah, I see what you mean now. The route that I'm about to go is 100% going to introduce a duplication glitch. So what I could do actually then is, if I have the zombie like loot the box, you would see everything disappear. Prompting, and that would be your prompt to, hey, something's, you know, happened. I'm trying, but how I'm trying to do this elegantly. It would be nice to track. If I could track which inventory, because it's only the item that I have selected that is the problem. If I can track what slot that came out of on the menu close, I can just reassign it where it needs to go. Yeah. So what I needed to do is, I mean, because the easy thing would be, so no, there's a couple of ways that I can do this. I just want to think about how I want to do it. Where it gets difficult is specifically the equipped items. I could just default to just checking if it was the player or the, you know, if it was anything related to the player versus anything related to the stash. So then that would come into the instance of when I click the gun specifically out of my inventory. So if I have an equipped gun, it's probably easier if I have this open. So what I could do, let's just deal with this guy for a second. So what I could do is in the instance, or here, let's use the proper loot thing. So say we're in the countdown for the zombie right now, and I'm in here looting around and everything. If I click this guy, for example, and haven't done anything with it, I could just go, that was in the zombie loot box, toss it back in. Except it would never get to the zombie. So I actually would be losing the item, not preserving it. That is a tough one. I thought this was going to be a simpler bug to fix, but that's actually really tough. Yeah. Because what I have to do is not, in this instance, I can't just take like this bullet, for example, and send it back to this inventory. Because the closing is happening after the fact. So if I go to the UI manager and then the enemy base. So the enemy dies and it tells it signals the event to the hey that I died, which is in the level manager. So the level manager goes, okay, somebody died. I need to take, and it takes in the enemy and it takes in if they're reanimatable. I don't know why I have this set as 2 different variables because I can just get it out of the enemy, but that's actually probably because I have it as a private variable. That's probably why. So I get in the enemy, I create the loot drop, do all those shenanigans. Then in here, I check if it was reanimatable. And if it is, I go back to the enemy whose object still exists. They're just deactivated for the time being. You know, and I tell it to start reanimating. So I go into the reanimate and over here, I cache the lootable. Why I cache it, I don't know. I set it to be temporary. I instantiate the zombie and then I start the timer. When the reanimation timer is finished, I for each through all of the I go through everything that's in the inventory, send it to the player or send it to the zombie, destroy that, and destroying the lootable it invokes the on destroyed, which goes back into the UI manager because the temporary lootable event has on destroy where I set it to menu close. Menu closed closes the menu. And there's no way that there's no way in there whatsoever that it ever has access to the selected item that's in focus. So the two... Because it's rough. I want the original thing to be destroyed because I don't want, like, because I want the zombie, you know, to be a reanimation of that character. So you're going to see it get back up and continue on. So naturally, it's going to have that inventory. I don't want to do this just like... I don't want the zombie to just drop everything that it had on the ground and then just kind of fucks off and does whatever it wants to do. I want it to be the NPC. Yes, Hendrix. He's sitting in the window. I got my like window open, so he's sitting there sniffing the fresh air, but he's just kind of like peeking over the monitor, staring at me. Here, hold on 1 second. My wife will enjoy this. Hendrix. 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 Hey, Hendrix. You were there for a second, but my button was covered. Oh, darn. He's not doing it anymore. I could... Okay, so so I could do this. when the temporary lootable event is, I could give the lootable the ability to have a reference to okay, so if it's a temporary lootable event I could go in here and have a because when I close, I can check if it's a okay, yeah, that's how we can do this. I'll let the lootable have the ability to have a reference to the zombie, because that's what it's gonna get. I could probably refactor this too to make the transition of the inventories a bit more elegant. But I can take everything that's inventory, transfer it over to the zombie like I'm doing. I can check the item to see what is happening, you know, to where it came from. And then basically when the menu is closed, I can check that if it was a temporary lootable event, because that's basically what's going to be happening is it gets forced closed. That's why it's temporary. And then I can check the selected item of what inventory it came from, and then manually, and then at that point insert it into the zombie. I'm adding a weird dependency to the zombie, or of a zombie to the loot menu, which I'm not entirely like thrilled about, but I feel like this is the only way that I'm going to be able to do this. And honestly, this is an instance where I feel like the dependency on the zombie isn't like the worst thing in the world. Where I struggle with sometimes is writing code at work and writing code like professional like business software and a video game. You know, I shouldn't even say business, but like the type of software I work at work and the video game are functionally different pieces of software. And this is such an enclosed ecosystem that I feel like the dependencies are less problematic. I try to write my games like I write my code at work, and I feel like I take that to an extreme sometimes. So what I can do is set temporary, and I can take in zombie. Private zombie. And then I can get the private zombie get return zombie. This is also supposed to be a zombie. So on the set temporary, where does set temporary get called? An enemy base. Yeah. Drop loot dot set temporary. So I actually need to do this after the fact, so that I can pass in the zombie. So then on the loot menu, if you know, it'd be funny. Okay, actually, hear me out. I kind of like this as a game design feature. Any item that is in the selected item thing, like that you have selected. So like this guy, if I have this held in my hand, just put it in the zombie. It's you basically, since you're looting the zombie, but then it reanimates on you and it tries to grab you and eventually, you know, grabs the item. I like that actually. Hold on. So I could, so if lootable, I gotta find a way to like convey that to the player so they don't go, oh, what happened to my thing? But I can do lootable.zombie.inventory.add to inventory selected item. Essentially, yeah, basically it's essentially whatever you're like, whatever you have in your hand at the time, because I count like whatever this is in your hand, essentially gets ripped out of your hand as the zombie reanimates. So what I want to test here then is, if we go back to the, I mean, if I don't like this as a mechanic, I can easily fix this, but I just thought of this while I was working through it. It would be funny that as the zombie reanimate, like it catches you off guard and it basically rips the item you had in your hand out of your hand. Let's go to the hideout. I'm immortal, so like I can just shoot at the guy, or the guy can just shoot at me while I'm doing this. We'll go in here, grab the pistol. Didn't work. Where and that did not work. Loot menu 271. Lootable. Invoking on destroyed. On destroyed probably is going to the UI manager to on menu closed. On menu close is checking for a variable. And if that's true, I can destroy the thing. Okay, so it's probably something in here. So if my selected item is not null and it is not a temporary thing, it's going to return false. Otherwise, you know, if the lootable is temporary, 271. So the zombie's not set right. Okay. So enemy base. Dropped loot. Is C# passed by value or passed by reference by default? I think it's passed by value by default. Yeah, it's passed by value by default. That's the problem. I don't have a reference to this actual lootable item. How do I pass by reference? I never remember how to do this. Happens in the UI manager. No, it happens in the level manager. So the level manager is the one that creates this loot drop. So start rename. Okay, so I gotta look this up. I don't remember how to do that. C# pass by reference. Well, actually, because in the start reanimation. Not print. I've done this in here before. Ref. So in the, okay, so in here, I gotta. So in set temporary. Reference zombie. That should throw an error. Yeah. I don't see how that would work because it was in what? Loot menu 271. That's actually not going to fix the problem. Let me base the zombie. Yeah, I don't need to do a reference here. I just need to do what's actually happening is I'm just not setting the thing. So let me base. Set temporary. Yeah, I'm never setting the zombie. I was way overthinking that. Hendrix. Hey, Hendrix. He's angry. Let's try that again now that I'm setting it correctly. Okay, so I'm going to hold this pistol. Close out. Pistol's gone. And if I kill the zombie... Oh, I should have killed it right there. Oh, there we go. There's the pistol that it ripped out of my hands. Okay. That works. Because what could be really funny is if I do something like, say, I don't see why you would do this, but like, if I do that, for example, I suddenly don't have a gun. It just rips out of your hand. I could see people not liking that, but that's kind of how I want to do it now. And I can go grab that, and there's my gun back. That bug was way harder. I mean, I thought the bug was going to be straightforward to fix. I didn't think we were going to have to be making some, like, major decisions here. Yeah, pretty much. It's the way I look at it is basically, you know, it's you're caught off guard. So the thing grabbed it out of your hands because it's just going to reach for you and grab. And whatever you got in your hands is gone. And again, I don't see an instance of where you would be left like gunless, because I really feel like the only instance that you're going to have a gun in your hand is it, like, say this gun was this inventory. If I took this gun, equipped it, and still had the old gun in my hand, I don't foresee why people would like just undo, but you never know. Maybe they're just, because the thing is too, is like the zombie, it's supposed to be, the zombies aren't going to be like a 5-second timer. This timer is going to be more like minutes. Yeah, you know, so it's like the timer is probably going to be like a 5-minute timer or something, like, you know, at least a handful of minutes before it's going to like turn. I'm getting there. You still got 45 minutes. Screaming for dinner. Yeah, I kind of like that. We'll go with that for now for the design. I don't know why it's throwing that error. That's weird. Object type of pause menu has been destroyed, but you're still trying to access it. Your script should either check if it's null, or you should not destroy the object. Interesting. Is it only when I... Okay, CS 120 on UI manager. This will never have a... Field lootable _ zombie is never assigned to and will always have its default value to null, except it gets set here when it matters. Max weight is never assigned. Oh, that's fair. I never use that. That's weird. Does that say UI manager? On menu closed. That makes no sense. I'm just going to ignore that one for now. Except that's bothering me. So is it when it... Okay, so it's on reanimate. CS 120. On enemy reanimated. Menu.close menu. But it's closing. Is it closing from somewhere else? I don't really think I need to be concerned about that right now. But I gotta know. I gotta know. It's gonna bother me if I don't. Menu is null. Because it's trying to close it when it's not. Oh my god. Lootable on destroy, or when it gets destroyed. Because it's reanimating, it's going to destroy the lootable. Goes to the UI manager. On destroyed. Menu closed. I can just do that. I can't do that. I can just do this. If menu equals null. I don't think there's any way around this. I think I have to do this check. Just to cover that like edge case. Because that's why it's thrown that error. Is because it's trying to close the menu and the menu doesn't exist because there's no menu. Now you should reanimate and there'll be no error. Yep. And I should be able to just, I guess I didn't necessarily have to loot this thing, but yeah, and everything works fine there. Okay. So I'm going to say that that bug is done. just gonna do the old fashioned of we're just gonna archive and delete this guy because I don't really have a thing that I'm working on right now. I'll be more formal about my Trello when I actually have something deployed and then I'm not just like fixing things left and right. So that's that bug fixed. Bug slash 3. Menu breaks when reanimating. Branch, create branch, bring my changes over. Breaks. There we go. Reanimating. Menu would break when the dead NPC reanimates. Selected item moves to zombie inventory upon reanimation. Menu auto closes upon reanimation. And all that. Publish that. I'm way too formal in my Git process for an indie for like a solo developer. Just because I never like I PR these, but I like never actually like code review it. I just PR it and merge it. Which I mean that's good practice. You do that regardless. But the fact that I go through like all these comments and stuff, I think it's just habit because of work. Hi, Hendrix. Hi. I don't even necessarily think it's being nice to myself. I think it's just habit more than anything. All right. It is 4:30. What do we want to do now for the rest of the time? Part of it. Yeah, you go have fun with that. I'm debating if I get off now and go like do my Friday chores and then hop in iRacing and in for a race here in an hour. Given that chat's pretty quiet, it looks like. I think you're the only one in here right now. I will probably... Yeah. It's also Friday. I have more... I think Friday I just naturally have to end earlier because I just have more stuff I have to do Friday nights. Hey, stop fighting. And they're all getting ornery, and I think I need to go feed them. So, yep, you have a good night. Have a good weekend, Zuraith. I will see you on... I'll see you on Tuesday, hopefully. Anybody else, if you're lurking in here, if you enjoyed what you see, here's all the socials, and I will be back again on Tuesday. Have a good night. Have a good weekend. Bye.